Hey, guess what? It's time for the Chips and Salsa Show. Time to get your guac on. I'm Alice Lara, and my buddy, my partner in radio podcast broadcast, is not here tonight. George had to work, okay? So it's going to be me. My first guest is going to be Jana Jackson. I'm going to get to her in just a moment and tell you why she's here. It's really big, so you don't want to go anywhere. First of all, if you just started watching us for the first time, I'll tell you why we exist. The Chips and Salsa Show, we're going into 5 years, if you can believe it. And we are trying to bust the myth that just because you're brown doesn't mean you're a Democrat. Former Democrat here, as was George. We're now Republicans, hardcore conservatives. So what I'm going to do a few announcements, and I'll tell you what the show's going to be. We're going to talk to Jana Jackson, who has a big announcement politically. And then next, we're going to talk to Eric Smaltz, who was here last week. He's going to give us an update on the homeless veteran that he's trying to find. He's on a mission. And our big featured guest will be Dr. Carl Petrasso, and he's a forensic psychologist. He's also an author. He's going to talk about the psychology of politics. You're not going to want to miss it. Behind the camera, as you notice, we have a little different camera setup, is our Super Sarah, our intern. Thank you, Sarah. Woo. And she is a Grand Canyon University student, and she is my great niece. And she's also great too, just because she's my great niece. And we hope that you stay tuned for this next hour because you're not going to want to miss it. And just I want to plug that next week we are going to have Josh Barnett. And Josh Barnett is running for Congress in my congressional district of 7. So I want to wish some happy birthdays real quick. Today is our good friend Helen Purcell's birthday.
Oh,
happy birthday! Yay! And also Lorraine Pellegrino.
Okay.
She is the president of the Arizona Federation of Republican Women. Congratulations, Lorraine. And Julie Baxmeyers, when I was at KFYI radio station as a producer, she trained me. She was the lead producer, and she's still a good friend and awesome. And I hope to have her on the show sometime soon. Also, tomorrow is Santa Butch's birthday. And Butch is a good friend of mine from the real estate world. And so we wish all those guys a happy, happy birthday. I want to give you a few announcements, and then we're going to get right to our show. This Saturday, Latinos for Trump. We invite you to join Trump Victory on October 12th in Arizona and Nevada on our National Day of Action and voter registration training. The Trump Victory Leadership Initiative is a foundation of our ground efforts to re-elect President Trump in 2020. So for Arizona, if you're here in Arizona, we invite you to come down right here where we are now. We're at the Arizona Republican headquarters, 3501 North 24th Street. And that's going to be from 9:30 in the morning to 11:30. You don't have to be Latino to join in this. You can come here, but just go on the website, and that way you can RSVP, or you can call them. The number here is 957-7770. I have that memorized. So we'll try to put that up on our Facebook site as well. Also, another thing you can do Saturday, we invite you to Midpoint Prayer Rally. If you are aware of the 40 Days for Life, we've had them on the show before, and they pray to end abortion. It's like our sign says, pray to end abortion. And that's going to be at the sidewalk in front of 1331 North 7th Street, and that's this Saturday, October 12th at 9 a.m. It's a morning of peaceful prayer and music with Nancy Brady, Father Charlie Goriab, I probably mispronounced his name, I'm sorry, and Bart Tesorero. And you can get information, you can email 40dflphx@gmail.com. 40dflphx@gmail.com, or call 480-459-6283, 480-459-6283. If you've never been, I encourage you to go. There's some wonderful people, and they have been very successful in saving little babies' lives and changing minds and hearts. And you don't have to be Catholic. We just want you there to pray, because that's really important. If there's something you can do, sometimes you feel so powerless, but you can always pray, and that's a lot of power. This is for you, Sarah. I found this. Grand Canyon University. Guess who's coming? Donald Trump Jr. is going to be there with Charlie Kirk. You probably know about this. And that's Turning Point USA. That's going to be Monday, October 21st. I might try to go to that thing. And that's at 7 o'clock in the evening at the Antelope Gymnasium. That's 3300 West Camelback. Come here, Charlie Kirk and Donald Trump Jr. take on big government, culture, and the left as part of the Culture War Tour. So check that out. Again, that's a Culture War at Grand Canyon University, and that is going to be Monday, October 21st. I want to give a plug, too, to my sisters Arizona Federation of Republican Women, we're having our conference, and that's going to be starting Thursday, October 24th for that weekend. Lots of good stuff. Dr. Kelly Ward is going to be here. She's our chairman of the Arizona Republican Party. And also, RNC chairwoman Ronna Romney McDaniel is going to be there. And we have a great keynote speaker, Brandon Stratka. Now, if you already belong to Republican Women's Club, you can go and register. If you just want to go to one of these sessions, go on there. Special meeting, dinner, speakers. I think there's a way you can attend. Just check it out. And then, let me see what else I got. For you guys that are light rail people, we lost the thing. There's going to be light rail in South Phoenix. But that's okay because you want to know what's going on, okay? That's right. We don't always win. You can go the future of the South Central Corridor, Monday, November 4th at 5:30 to 8 at the South Mountain Community Center. And that's at 212 East Alta Vista in Phoenix. Again, that's Monday, November 4th, 5:30 p.m., South Mountain Community Center. So we'll announce that again because that's a little bit in the future. All right, so now we're going to get to our very wonderful guest, my very good friend here, Jana Jackson. Jana, I'm so happy that you're here.
Oh, you're so good. Get your guac on.
Get your guac on. That's
yes,
right.
Yes,
that's
yes,
right.
Yes.
We have Jana today because she's got a terrific announcement that I'm so excited about. First, let me tell you real quick. Jana Jackson is my good Republican friend. She is actually a high school teacher, and she teaches the sciences. She's got that great foundation we've had her on about the Kids Foundation.
Yes.
And now, if that weren't enough, check out what she's going to do. Take it away, Jana.
Can I tell a little story on
Yes.
why I am a Republican?
Yes, please do.
It's called the chocolate milk story. Now, everybody doesn't understand this thing about chocolate milk.
I love chocolate milk.
Well, because I was born and raised in Chicago in the inner city. And this is the first experience as why I became a Republican. What was the first experience I ever had, right? So I remember I lived on this block. It was in Chicago, and I had a mother and a father. You know, they lived together, they married. You know, I was this
That's
great
how
mom.
we did it back. Old school.
In the old
in-tax
school.
families.
Yeah, you had. Yeah,
Sarah
you
had one too. You're old school, Sarah.
Yeah, old school families. Well, because my father believed that you need to live with the people you serve. Naturally, he's a homicide detective in the city of Chicago, wow. 33 years. So he actually lived with the people he served. In all of his life, all the life that I can remember, he always served. So he used to fly. We had a flag in the front of our house, and nobody else had a flag. Very few people had grass, but we had grass and we had a flag. But my dad was a Democrat, and I just thought, all good people that are like my dad have flags. And then across the street there was a family, and the lady was there, and her daughter's name was Gussie Lee. And I have to speak a little bit of inner city talk and then the regular talk. Like, people that are Hispanic, you can speak Spanish and English. Right. Well, when you're from the inner city, you really do speak two languages, but only old school people know this. So her name was Gussie Lee, but you just called her Gussie Lee. So Gussie Lee lived across the street, and it must have been like 10 or 12 of them. It was like so many children in this one house, and they didn't have a father. It was just a mother. So, I would go to school with Gussie Lee, and her brothers would go to school, and her sisters would go to school. But when it was time for lunch, you had to form two lunch lines. One lunch line was for those that paid for their lunch, and the other lunch line was for people that just got lunch. Now, I'm 10 years old. I'm not understanding. I just know that every week I've got to take a check from my father and give it to my teacher. She writes my name down, and she always would call the Jacksons. I have a twin brother, right? The Jacksons last. Wasn't alphabetical order. So we're sitting in the classroom. Gussie Lee is there, and I'm there with my brother, and everybody's getting in line, but we don't get in line because we've given the check. Okay, so we get to the cafeteria, and in the cafeteria you had two lines. The kids that just got the lunch and those that had the checks for lunch or cash for lunch. Okay. So while I'm there, all of a sudden, Gussie Lee, that's all of her brothers and sisters in front of her, and that's 10 of them. Now, I know up there in the front, you have a choice, chocolate milk or white milk. But the cartons look as if it was even, chocolate milk or white milk. Gussie Lee led everybody in front of her. every brother, every sister. So now this is a 5th grade class, and I'm really behind because, they have the 2 lines, and they only have, one lunch lady, and she's not going to go back and forth. She only goes to the one line and then to the other. So what happens is that all of a sudden, I get up to the front. And when I get up to the front, there is no more chocolate milk. So I learned. And who wants the white milk? White milk with ice mixed up with the milk. That's all that was left. Everyone else had the incredible chocolate milk. And I learned at 10 years old that if your father gave a check and had a flag in front of his house, we were a little different. And so I learned I needed to get the chocolate milk. The only way I could get the chocolate milk, I went home that night and I said, Dad, do you think maybe you could not send a check? And he explained to me the difference between those that have none and those that have. And he said, you have. We live to serve the people. So I learned as a very young child.
Oh, I love that story.
Chocolate milk for those that do not have checks. White milk only for those who have parents. So that's my story. I just figured, I said, well, that's just 2 things. And eventually in my life, I learned other things about what Republicans did. And so that's my story. It may not make sense, but it's a good story for me about the chocolate milk. Now for my announcement.
And now,
I got the chocolate milk. I am going to run for House of Representatives, the Legislative District LD 28. Arizona. And the reason why I'm running is because at a very young age, at 10 years old, I learned that there was a way to get the chocolate milk. If you want the chocolate milk, there's a way to do it. And the way is to go and talk to the people. And so in this election, I'm going to go and talk to the people. I'm going to find out what they want. And they will not have to stand in 2 lines. I will fight for them, a woman of courage. So whatever I can bring it on. Because I want to be that House of Representative person, because I want to represent everyone. And I feel everyone should be able to get everything, especially the chocolate milk. So that's sort of my chocolate milk story. I don't know if it makes sense, but it makes sense to me.
that is great. And, it's very fitting that we have you on now because last week we had Senator Kate Brophy McGee. Right. Well, as you guys that follow us, she is running for state senator in the same district, 28. So can you imagine? Here's Kate, and here's another powerhouse. And it's going to be great. Right. Now, if somebody wants to help you, what do they do? Do you have anything set up yet?
I haven't set things up because today is my announcement. Today is a day that I can actually say that I am running. But let me tell you now, I am educated and I do have academics. So I don't want them to think that this lady can only talk about chocolate milk because I am coming on. I'm coming back. And when I come back, I want to come back with the reasons why I want to be the representative. And I want to be able to share data on our educational system. I want to be able to talk about intelligent types of things. And I may not mention the chocolate milk so much, but I do want the audience to know that my heart is there. I'm very passionate about running. And there are reasons why we need to elect me to be in the House to represent the people.
Jana, I just want to say that she is a very hard-working lady. We've had her on for the Kids Foundation, which is that you're still going to do that.
Oh
right?
Yes, most definitely. We have to. We started the Kids Foundation because I made campaign promises, and I said we can have a million people running, but how many people actually make those? Actually go through with the commitment. So I decided, let me see, is it going to be hard for me to make these promises? It was easy to make the promises. It was very easy to make promises. It was not easy to keep promises. So I decided I'd have to work hard. And every promise that I made, I wrote down. And I went out there and I did it. And I said that I could take children from the inner city and teach them real physics and chemistry and real coding. Not this play STEM, but the real STEM. Now why? I was an aerospace education specialist for NASA. Thinking there may only be 2 in the state, I would only be 1. And when I held the position, I was the only woman in the country to hold that job. I become very, very humble, and I don't say a lot. But yes, I went to the poorest areas in Phoenix, as well as the richest areas in Phoenix, and I taught them all. Coding, robotics, we learned chemistry, physics, the real stuff. And it was absolutely amazing. We work with the kids that have in the homeless shelter families. We worked with just about everyone. We had a mentoring program where the White Sox, the LA Dodgers, and the Cardinals came and they worked one-on-one with our kids from the KIDS Foundation, which stands for Kids. K is knowledge, integrity, discipline, and spirituality. So yes, every promise that I made, in every place that I went, I said, I will do these things. I wrote them down. And now when I talk about me becoming a part of the House of Representatives, I talk about what I've already done, not what I want to do. And that's what we need to look at. We need to look at now the history. What did you do? Didn't talk a lot about my education or that I worked at NASA. But I will this time, and show my uniform and talk about the astronauts and the atmospheric scientists that I worked with. So I want to do both. I want to be able to show my intelligence and my academics, but that's not important as it is for my love of people and my love for the children.
You're going to be a great candidate. We're going to have Jana back, like she said, once she's been out in the field, but she is officially filed. She is a candidate. If you don't, maybe you live in Arizona, you're going to run, are you running clean?
I'm running clean elections.
Okay, so if you are in District 28 in Arizona, it doesn't matter what party you are, you can still give her the $5 collections. You can support her. You can take smaller donations.
Yes.
If you care about
The
our
education
state,
of the state, yes.
and representation, you're going to want to follow Jana. We'll have her back, and you'll see that, look for her, Jana Jackson, not Janet, Jana, Jana Jackson. Okay.
And I sing too.
And she sings, yeah, she's a good singer.
I'm not,
all right, anything before you
but I do
leave?
sing. I want to thank you. Thank you so much. Oh, thank you. Thank you,
Really
thank you, thank you.
appreciate it. Thanks for announcing it on our show.
Well, thank you.
And we look forward to having you back very, very soon.
I hope I did okay with the chocolate. You know how I love that chocolate.
I know. We'll have chocolate milk for you next time.
Okay, sounds great.
All right.
Thank
Take
you.
care. Bye, Jana.
Bye-bye, everyone.
All right. Okay, and now we're going to do a little switcheroo. Carl, would you mind if I put Eric on?
Good luck.
Would you mind if I did Eric real quick first?
No.
All right, super. Jana, would you just tell Eric to come on in? All right. So I'm talking to Carl because Carl's our main guest, and he is the forensic psychologist I was telling you about. We've had him on before, if you follow us, and we used to do a dream show together because he interprets dreams.